With all the exciting hype surrounding Valentine's, you probably have some decent gift ideas swirling around, but you're waiting for the perfect one. Well, 1-800-Flowers.com is your answer, because right now when you order early, you can get 12 multicolored roses for only $19.99, or double it to 24 multicolored roses for only $10 more. It's an unbelievable offer from 1-800-Flowers. This gorgeous bouquet of multicolored roses is a perfect surprise she's guaranteed to love. And remember, 1-800-Flowers is here for all your upcoming Valentine's needs. A dozen multicolored roses for only $19.99, or an upgrade to 24 multicolored roses for just $10 more. It's an amazing offer. When it comes to life's meaningful moments, choose 1-800-Flowers.com. To order a dozen multicolored roses for $19.99 or upgrade to 24 multicolored roses for only $10 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code WINGO. Again, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code WINGO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code WINGO.
Yeah! These Minnesotans and others are a hearty bunch. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic, and eventually Mike Golic Jr. will be here.
What a slacker.
Yeah? Why is he not here?
He's already been doing his show First and Last for 2 hours somewhere in this wonderful Mall of America where Radio Row is, and he is not. His show ended a good 5 minutes ago.
He should have been here.
Where is he? If he were a wide receiver, he'd be here. He's a fat old lineman, so he hasn't made it just yet.
Clearly, DNA is not in his favor.
Just so as we sit in the beautiful Hard Rock Cafe here,
Yes.
did you go Minnesotans?
Yeah, I did.
Did you do that already to these people?
Well, look at them all.
I
Aren't you guys
understand
excited?
that.
Aren't you
Yeah.
excited?
Okay.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Didn't know, if you're trying to imitate them somehow, some
I
way.
would never do that.
No.
As
Okay.
far as you know. We are glad to be here. We're glad all of you are here. We got set up for a really, really big week. Golic and Wingo presented by 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 12 multicolored roses for only $19.99 or double it to 24 multicolored roses for only $10 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. So we are set. This is our home for the next 3 days in Super Bowl week. And thankfully it's indoors. Because, Mike, we looked at the forecast, and today was supposed to be the warmest day of all the days
Yes,
we're
it
here.
was. Yes.
And then we walked outside, and we had a little surprise.
It snowed.
Yeah.
I think in 20 minutes it snowed like 3 inches, which to these people here is nothing. They call that a dusting.
Yeah, that's a 2-inch putt.
Yeah,
for these guys.
that's exactly right. So, adventures right out of the gate here. But, you expect that when you're in the cold weather city for the Super Bowl. But I'm looking forward to a few days here hanging out with as Trey would say, you Minnesotans.
Yeah. It went better when I said it.
It did. It really did. You're right.
That fell flat, didn't it, with him?
It fell flat. Where were you, people? Where were you when I needed you most?
I know. I think we know where they are.
Yeah.
I think we know where they are.
Team Trey.
So anyway, I have a somewhat personal story I need to share before we start this. So, we flew in yesterday,
right?
And from Connecticut here. And, you have your DOP kit with all your stuff, your toothbrush, your toothpaste.
Yes, you're supposed to.
Supposed to.
Yeah.
So I opened up my DOP kit this morning. I was missing an essential item that you need to start your day.
Toothbrush?
No.
Toothpaste?
No.
Hairbrush?
No.
My son doesn't need that.
Well, I'm getting close to your son, so I don't want to talk about that.
What?
Things you need to make sure that you're not offending anybody.
Deodorant?
Yeah.
You don't have any deodorant?
Well, I do now.
Okay. All right.
But I didn't as I left the hotel room, and I went down to the front desk and said, I need you to help me out here.
Yeah.
So they gave me a little travel size, and then our driver, Tessa, was very nice.
Very, very
I walked
nice.
in and said, Tessa, I'm apologizing for what I'm about to do, but I'm thinking of you because I'm doing it.
So you put deodorant on in front of her.
Right in front of the driver.
In the van.
In the van.
There you go. Okay.
Thankfully, she was looking straight ahead, so there was nothing. But I felt bad about that.
Yeah.
But I would have felt worse had I not done it.
No, I agree. I agree.
Right? That would have been worse.
Your fault for forgetting that.
Yes,
quite honestly,
yes. So I made the right choice from a bad decision.
You did. You did.
That's what
you
I'd
came
like
out
to
of it
say.
well, which is a good thing. Good job.
And again, everybody here, and especially you, because you're going to win the proximity.
We're all
award
winners. That's exactly
for the
right.
Next 4 hours,
and for
you came out ahead,
and for the amount of guests that we have, and big time guests here, they're going to be very happy.
I'm glad you mentioned that, guest, because here's what we got coming up. All these times, and again, I apologize to the good people in the Central Time Zone, but we always do this in East Coast time.
Right.
So we're on at 6 in the East Coast. It's 5 here now. So at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Mall of America time.
Right.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Terrell Davis will be here.
Right.
At 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Mall of America
You're
time.
going to do this? You're going to do this whole
just to make
for
sure
the other one?
everybody's clear. Dan Marino, Pro Football Hall of Famer, will join us.
Mm-hmm.
At 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Mall of America time, Sal Palantonio will be here. 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Hard Rock Cafe time. Tony Dungy, Pro Football Hall of Famer, will be here. 9 o'clock East Coast time, 8 o'clock here. Adam Thielen, Vikings wide receiver, will be here.
Yeah.
And then at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central time, it'll be Deshaun Watson joining us here, the Texans quarterback. Oh, and look who just strolled in.
Oh, guys.
You all right?
It's a lot farther away than I imagined. This is not going to be fun the next couple of
The Mall of
mornings.
America is a large place, is it not?
It was more like, and listen, I wasn't actually going to sprint, but it was definitely more of a fast-paced walk than I was.
Yeah,
Were you like those race runners, the race walkers that did? Is that what you did?
Olympic power
Your heel
walking.
never came off the ground?
You get that nice hip wiggle to
That's
it.
it.
It looks real nice.
As I said, if you were Jake was a tight end, kind of the athlete. Jake would have been here in time for the start of the show. You not so much.
I got distracted, so I'm over there where I'm up in Radio Row where I'm doing the show is in the food court of the Mall of America.
Even better.
The problem is it's a giant tease because I'm doing the show from 3 to 5 a.m., so nothing is open.
Right. Good point.
Nothing. So I'm sitting there next to Shake Shack.
Oh.
It is like one of the greatest hells ever known. I sit there, I see it, the lights are all off, and I can't eat any of it.
Right. No one gave you a key.
No one gave me a key. They didn't think I said I would be enough business for them to open early.
That's
I will
true.
cover the cost of whoever you need to send to work this early in the morning. So just help me.
So to recap, Mike Golick Jr.'s version of hell is being around a Shake Shack that's not open.
There you go.
Talk about first world problems.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a more descriptive, a literal thing of what hell might be like.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that's
yours.
for you.
I like to boil it down to the important parts.
There you go.
Something everyone can digest.
Well, except you because it wasn't open.
because you couldn't digest it.
Ba-dum-cha!
Very well
There we
done.
go. All right, enough of this. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's dive into how we normally do. Let's start off the top. Yes. Golick and Wingo on the road, presented by Progressive Insurance, live from the Hard Rock Cafe at the Mall of America here in Minneapolis. And we start with off the top in the NBA. James Harden, a career evening against Orlando, going for 60 points, 10 boards, and 11 assists in a 114-107 win.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice job out of
Not
him.
terrible.
No. He now has 3 50-point triple-doubles. Now he can add the 60-point. First player in NBA history to score 60 points, as you mentioned, in that triple-double. He had more points and assists than everybody else on his team. 60 points, everybody else had 54. 11 assists, everybody else had 6. So he's good. And again, it's like without Chris Paul, Chris Paul on the court, Chris Paul off the court, not in the court now. So when these two are separated, they're doing really well. Imagine if they could get it together when they're together. But the way it's working for them, and maybe the way Cleveland goes with kind of Isaiah Thomas and LeBron, is make sure one of them's on the court at all times.
On only 30 shots, too. So an efficient night for him. 19 of 30, 17 of 18 from the free throw line. And mixing it in, we mentioned this is the first 60-point triple-double in NBA history. Why was everyone else so selfish? We've seen Kobe and these guys hit these marks. James is the only one willing to share the ball.
There you go. That's exactly
My
right.
point guard.
That's where you boiled it down to?
That's what I boiled it down to, man. He's the only one that's willing to play nice with others. Everyone else is selfish.
Good to have you on the show today.
I tell you guys missed me when I was gone for that 2 minutes.
We did.
It was actually going all right.
Yeah.
We continue with Off the Top. The struggles continued for the Cavaliers in many levels as they lost to the Pistons, who ended the game on an 8-game losing streak with one January game left behind tonight against the Heat. Cleveland is 5-8 this month and been outscored by 6.8 points, and that's not even the worst of it.
No, it's not. To go along with that, 5th time in their last 11 games, the Cavs have allowed at least 125 points. Not going well for them at all. With the group of Isaiah Thomas, J.R. Smith, James, Tristan Thompson, and now Kevin Love, which we'll get into. In the 33 minutes, the first 4 players on the court without Love, they were outscored by 29. They just can't get it together right now. And then Kevin Love going out with a broken hand ain't going to help matters much.
6 to 8 weeks is going to make it difficult. Continuity had been an issue already for a team that had suffered not only injuries, but injuries one after another. It's not like they came all at once and they were able to adjust. It's constantly having to tinker with a lineup that they were already searching for answers.
Broken hand, non-displaced, so crack in the hands, heal. It should heal up just fine, but again, it's going to take that 6 to 8 weeks, to your point, the continuity part of that. But you kind of know what you're getting out of Kevin Love.
Right.
I really think it's more about how the others are going to work into this rotation a bit.
Well, the other thing, too, here is that everybody was willing to blame Kevin Love for all their problems.
Yeah, what are you going to do now?
Yeah, okay, well, Kevin's gone now.
Yeah.
So either he really was the problem,
and
you guys will rip off like 30 in a row.
Could you imagine if they go on a winning streak now?
Or maybe it wasn't the big guy's fault.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way we want to look at it.
I'm hoping they bottom out. Kevin Love, sip your tea on the bench, man. Enjoy this moment. This is for you.
Get the meme with the Kermit the Frog?
Exactly, man. I want him to lean into this one. He deserves it.
Well, we'll find out. All right, we continue with... down 2-1 with under 2 minutes to go, the Golden Knights rallied to beat the Flames 4-2 after scoring 3 goals in just 53 seconds. It took only 49 games, but with the win, Vegas, Mike, has already tied the NHL record for the most wins in an inaugural season.
Yep, it took them, just as you mentioned, the 49 games to get to those wins, 33 wins, tying the Mighty Ducks at 93 and the Panthers, Florida Panthers at 93 as well. They already surpassed their over-under. Listen, we're in Vegas, so you got to talk points, right?
Yes.
And Westgate... Superbook put their point total at 68.5, the lowest of anybody in the league. They've already surpassed that. Listen, it's been nothing but an unbridled success for them. And we know the Raiders are going there in a year or so, and you say, okay, 8 home games, more of an event, could be a successful there, and it's the Raiders. How will hockey work? 41 home games. Are you going to get a crowd there and such? Man, they've been doing a great job. And winning certainly helps everything, but what a success that move has been.
I just like the approach because I was one that said when they announced that the Raiders were going to Vegas, I said, you got to lean into this. You got to make sure that the stadium has all the normal amenities that you would see in a hotel or casino out there. But I love the Golden Knights head coach John Tortorella's approach to this on his players going out in Vegas because that's the one thing everyone's always concerned with. He says, I want them to go out. I think playing guilty is a big part of being really good in the NHL.
Wow. Okay.
Well, but there's 2 ways to look at that. One, there's playing guilty, and there's one playing dehydrated. Those are 2 different things.
Yeah, no, playing with extreme there's a lot of guilt associated with hangovers, though. My Sunday mornings can attest to that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, however, you're sitting in a radio studio. Yeah. You're not doing 3-minute shifts on the ice.
That's fair enough. You'll sweat it out a lot faster.
There's a slight difference.
Only slight.
So I
did just run from the food court here.
Well, actually, you said you didn't run. You said
you walked fast.
Yeah. So
same,
I just
thing.
Just pick one story, man, and stick with it. That's all we're asking. All right, we continue. Trae Young had Trae Young night. 44 points, including 31 in the second half to carry 12th-ranked Oklahoma past Baylor 98-96.
6 3-pointers beyond 30 feet. You know, he doesn't just shoot a 3-pointer, he bombs them.
Yeah.
He absolutely bombs them away on this one. And he drew 13 of Baylor's 23 fouls, so he was 16-19 from the free throw line. So, you know, we saw Alabama put the clamps on him pretty well, just absolutely harassed him like crazy. But when he gets free and when he gets a shot for those shots, he can drain him from a far, far downtown.
And so we continue to see these varied parts of his game showing up. We saw the other night doing it more efficiently, doing it more of an all-around game after he was challenged to do so by his coaching staff there. But reminding you he can put the pedal down on the gas, and it's going to be important as he will probably see more of what Alabama gave him as they get to tournament time and teams have to figure out, all right, we've got to cut off this one guy and we'll have a chance. They gave you the blueprint.
Well, what I really liked about watching his game is he's a finisher. You know, I get it. He can shoot from deep. He reminds me of Kyrie, the way he can finish around the rim. All those off-balance shots that sometimes seem like, what are you doing? They're like, oh, that worked.
And it's always nice when instead of him doing that, he just bombs it from 30 feet.
Also true.
Just watch that rainbow go in.
We call that inside-outside.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, yeah.
It's nicely done. And that was off the top.
Yes, it was.
We'll get to the big NFL news that really has nothing to do with why we're here, which is really amazing, between the Chiefs and the Redskins in just 30 seconds. But first, Mike.
Let's talk about Dollar Shave Club, not only giving you an amazing shave, but they also make products for your hair, face, skin, shower, everything you need. And it's all their own original stuff. They have it covered head to toe. And right now you can get your first month of their best razor along with travel-size versions of shave butter, body cleanser, and other great products for just $5. After that, replacement cartridges ship for just a few bucks a month. It's the DSC starter set for just $5 exclusively at dollarshaveclub.com/Golic. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Golic.
All right, as we continue here on Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, obviously, you know when you see somebody walking around with that T-shirt that said, my parents went to the Bahamas and all I got was this lousy T-shirt?
Yes.
I kind of feel like that's where we are at Super Bowl week. I went to Super Bowl week and suddenly a trade broke out.
Yeah,
we're all here to talk about the Eagles and what's going to happen on Sunday against the Patriots. And ladies and gentlemen, the crazy offseason in the NFL has already begun. The Washington Redskins and Kansas City Chiefs have pulled off a trade. Alex Smith, the quarterback, goes to Washington. In exchange, Washington gives up a third-round pick, which, by the way, they'll get back.
They'll get back, right.
When Kirk Cousins signs in free agency somewhere.
The way it works when you ever watch that draft, and Trey's the one drew in a draft all the time, and you see at the end of a round it goes into the compensatory picks. Well, that's what happens when you lose a free agent. It's gauged on how valuable that free agent is, and then that team gets a pick. So when the Washington Redskins lose Kirk Cousins to free agency, that's what they'll get back. So they really just swap picks there. But
they also lose up Kendall Fuller.
Kendall Fuller, a cornerback young cornerback who's coming off a real nice year, giving up a young, promising player there.
So it essentially becomes Alex Smith for Kendall Fuller. Nice in favor of him if you're feeling like you're worth a quarterback in all of this, and one that for Washington now gives them something to steady. They had been doing this year-to-year gamble with Kirk Cousins and finally decided we can't live like this anymore.
Well, or maybe Kirk decided he didn't want to live like that anymore, because to me, I'm pretty sure he let that Washington team know that, look, this has been fun for a couple of years, but I'm not doing this anymore. And so they felt like they had to move on. And Kirk is, 27, 26, 27, 28 years old?
Right in that
so
range.
Alex was the first pick of the 2005 draft, okay? Now, look, he played great last year.
He's 29, by the way.
29. Kirk's 29. Alex is 34. So essentially, what Washington decided, which I find interesting, is that we're willing, because they signed him to, a 5-year, 94, but it's really a 2-year deal. 5-year, $94 million deal. Essentially what Washington said is, we've had this guy that's rewritten the record books, literally rewritten the record books in franchise history over the last 2 or 3 seasons. And he's younger, but gosh darn it, we're going to go with that 34-year-old. Now, I get it, in this day and age, players are playing later and doing well, and Tom Brady is here as a 40-year-old, soon-to-be 41-year-old quarterback playing in the Super Bowl later this year in 2018. But basically, they went for the older guy and paid him more when you had a guy in your system that was extremely productive over a 3-year time frame. I find that curious.
Well, I find it curious, but I do wonder if part of it was just Kirk Cousins got turned off. You go back to the first offer he got. He and his wife were they were in London when they read about the first offer. And again, it sounds odd as we all sit here and listen to numbers. He was offered a deal that basically paid him about $12 million a year. And as it was put, he was highly disappointed considering what quarterbacks make in this league. And I don't know if that turned him off to saying, okay, I'm done with them, because remember, Washington was so quick in their latest offer last year to him, which is obviously much more than that. Right. They were quick to make that one public, say, oh, we offered him a ton of money, and he turned it down. So you just wondered, no matter what money they offered, was Kirk Cousins, knowing he was going to get it somewhere else, not going to be back in Washington.
Knowing he had a leverage position, the likes of which we really don't get to see in the NFL anymore. And for Washington, I mean, part of this can be financial. They said Alex Smith's deal is going to average about 23.5 a year. We know Kirk's is going to touch 29-30 a year, right? That's the average ballpark that we're getting into for a guy that knows he could go out and look at the free agent market and say, I've got all of this now. That market is shrinking by the day as things start to happen and topple around the league, the most recent of which was Blake Bortles' wrist surgery.
Right. Well played by Blake Bortles.
Yeah, $19 million.
Guarantees him his $19 million contract.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And again, none of this can be official, air quotes, until the league year starts on March 14th. Right. But everything is in place. I'm not an Alex Smith batcher in any way, shape, or form. Alex Smith just came off a season where he threw for over 4,000 yards for the first time, completed 68% of his passes, had 26 touchdown throws and only 5 interceptions, and it wasn't good enough in Kansas City. So that's what I find interesting here, most importantly, is that you had 2 teams. Well, it wasn't good enough because they are all in on Patrick Mahomes,
right?
The kid they drafted last year out of Texas Tech. But you had 2 really, really good quarterbacks, and neither one of them felt like the team that they were playing for was good enough. And that's the most interesting thing about this switch, which is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetics motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. So we had a record-setting performance by Kirk Cousins over the last few years, but Washington never really loved him. Alex Smith did everything that Andy Reid and that coaching staff wanted him to do in Kansas City, including literally the best year of his life.
Yeah.
Of his life. And they didn't feel it was good enough in Kansas City.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into that Kansas City side of it. But on this trade, you always say, who won, who lost? Well, our own Louis Riddick said, hey, both teams did pretty well here.
If you're going to move on from Kirk Cousins, you want to at least make a lateral move in terms of the type of guy that you acquire, and maybe you do get someone who can do some things, and Alex can do some things that Kirk can't do. Namely, he can add a different dimension as far as running the football, and maybe will open up their offense as far as, having a dual threat at the quarterback position. So I think it's a win-win in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs going ahead and moving on and being able to play their young player, and the Redskins moving on from a situation there with Kirk Cousins that never was going to end any other way than how it ended.
First and foremost there, our insider Louis Riddick is now letting Mike Jr. know that you can unbutton that shirt about 4 more buttons.
There you go. How about
really
that?
letting it fly. Was that a puka shell necklace there, too? Louis, not afraid to let it all hang out.
He went down that road.
Louis apparently did chest day yesterday, so good for him.
It is amazing. Kirk Cousins, the last 3 years, 81 touchdowns, 36 interceptions. I mean, you're right. You look at those stats. I think that the relationship was damaged there. And he wasn't coming back. I think there'll be a good trust factor with Jay Gruden and Alex Smith. You can trust him, whether you think he's going to really, throw. Remember, after the first few weeks of the season, he was in the MVP conversation for the way he was hoisting the ball down the field. But I go back to what you said. I'm kind of with you. Man, I get it if you're going to be all in on a young quarterback. And remember, Andy Reid and the Chiefs moved way up to get Pat Mahomes. But my gosh, you got a quarterback. I'm amazed at what goes on with Alex Smith getting ousted in San Fran by Colin Kaepernick and now ousted by Pat Mahomes, a guy who has done nothing. Now, could you imagine? And listen, he's going to struggle. Pat Mahomes did not play his rookie year, barely at all. There is no chance on God's green earth he comes in next year and lights it up. He is going to struggle, and there's something amazing to me about the fact that you have a Chief team that can win now, that you're going to go now to a young quarterback. I'm a little surprised.
Well, I don't know if this Chief team can win now in the way that you believe they can. This defense is getting old. This defense struggled a lot this year, and I understand you lose Eric Berry, who is your best defensive player.
Right.
But there's still enough that you need to address there where you can use, because one thing this does is give them a lot more cap space than they had by taking Alex Smith's contract off the books for the rest of this. It gives them a little more wiggle room to work with, and I think in a time where you understand, all right, we've got a few more things that we need to address, we can deal with a little bit of uncertainty with a lot of upside going forward at the quarterback position if that means we've got room to work in other places.
You hope there's a lot of upside.
I mean, we know there's a lot of upside. That's why it's upside. You can't put a cap on it. You hope you know there's upside there. Whether it's realized or not is sort of the weird part.
By the way, forgive me. You know how I noticed that Lewis was just letting it all hang out there?
Yeah.
We got your microphone thing, it's very jaunty the way it's sitting on your head. It's like a cap that's leaned forward.
Is jaunty a thing you can say?
I don't know.
Like
You got a look going on.
It's a little something. It's a little something there.
Trying to cover up the hairline.
Couple of things. Yeah, good luck with that. A couple of things with Lewis there. Is it really okay just to make a lateral move? And is it a lateral move if you're giving up 6 or 5.5 years in age for that quarterback?
And
that's a concern I have.
You're going, in my opinion, you're going to go down in production. You're going to go down in production.
I agree. The one thing maybe that the Kansas City Chiefs became enamored with, in that last regular season game that Mahomes started and played, he was the first Kansas City quarterback drafted by the Chiefs to win a game since Todd Blackledge was drafted in 1983.
Absolutely amazing.
So before that win went to Pat Mahomes, every single win that the Kansas City Chiefs had been done with a quarterback that they had not drafted.
Yeah.
That's an incredible drought. So maybe they're like, hey, we finally drafted a guy who could win a game.
Yeah, so let's
we
make
are
him the
all
starter.
in on Pat Mahomes. And a lot of people are in on Pat Mahomes for a lot of reasons. But again, it's about potential. We saw production with Alex Smith. We'll see if that plays out going forward. We are just getting started here on Golic and Wingo. Coming up, a former Super Bowl MVP will join us on set as we get rolling here from the Hard Rock Cafe. From all our stout people that came out early on a snowy Minnesota morning, you will be rewarded, I promise. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And if you're watching on ESPN2, sitting to my left, resplendent in his gold Hall of Fame jacket, ladies and gentlemen. This Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis joins us now on set. Much to the applause of those people here at the Hard Rock Cafe in the Mall of America. He's brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. He's here on behalf of Kay Jewelers. Obviously, you're here because you're a Super Bowl MVP. You know what it takes to win a couple of these things. But were you surprised when you heard the news last night? We got a big trade Super Bowl week?
Yeah, I was, man. I think we started to look at places that Alex Smith would go, and the Redskins were not on the radar here.
Yeah.
They had Kirk Cousins there, and you didn't think that they would make a move to bring him in and and just have Kirk. We know he's a free agent now, but it's a little shocking to a lot of people now.
And you wonder, being in locker rooms, and the one thing you always try and say is, and I made this mistake the first year of free agency, is you take stuff personal when it's a business. And you wonder if that's where it ended up with Kirk Cousins in Washington, that it just ended up personal. He didn't like the first offer, and it just didn't go well from there. And you just wonder if the relationship was kind of soiled from that point on.
Well, I think you heard on both sides where there was like shots being fired from both sides, right? So you got Kirk Cousins coming in, and he's not really your guy, but he's your guy.
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback, how does that make you feel, right? You're signing me to obviously franchise tagging me every single year. You're not committing long term to me. So listen, it's a business for him. He has to look at it and say, if you're not making a commitment to me, then why should I make a commitment back to you? And people say, well, no, you should be all in with the team. Well, the team wasn't all in with him.
That's exactly right.
So I understand his sort of mindset behind that.
And the mindset was completely different for Alex Smith, who all year you heard kind of saying, listen, I've been around long enough. I know how this league works, and I know how quickly it can change year to year. But, I mean, TD, you won a Super Bowl with John Elway, who at the time was the oldest quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Old.
Two.
Dose.
But two Super Bowls.
I got you.
Of course, sneak that one in there. Trust me, 2 Super Bowls.
Don't shortchange me now.
I'm not going to shortchange you.
Okay.
I see all the diamonds shining from over there. I can't take anything away from you there. But playing with a veteran quarterback as opposed to now what Kansas City's going to go to, turning into a rookie in Patrick Mahomes, how does that play in a locker room full of other guys who are looking at every year as, maybe their last chance to accomplish what they're trying to do?
That's a great question, because we had Brian Griese, who was behind John Elway when I was there, and it seemed like the team was ready for that Brian Griese era to start. But inside the locker room, the players knew that he wasn't quite ready. And so now what you're doing is you're taking a chance from a guy who's a proven starter to a guy that has to prove himself. And when you're ready to win now, that's difficult for people to swallow that and say, all right, now we're going from a team that can compete to a team that you don't have no clue what you're going to look like coming out of training camp.
Are you surprised?
And that's where we were.
You surprised they made that? I mean, a lot of us trust Andy Reid, but I mean, wow, I'm really surprised.
Well, I'm not surprised in the fact that the writing's been on the wall. You draft Patrick Mahomes. Like, you knew that was going to be the future of the franchise.
Alex Smith said that like in the first OTA.
Oh, yeah, he knew
it was like, it's done.
When you talk about this year, right, the first 5 games, Alex was playing like he was playing for his job.
Yep.
Like, his backup, you can hear the threats. You can hear the footsteps. He was playing out of his mind because you got a rookie quarterback who can come in, who they want to bring in. They just want to make sure that the timing was right. So he knew that this was going to happen. Yeah. This is not a big surprise.
The other thing that's sort of interesting is Terrell Davis is here with us on set.
It's warm in here, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. Let me tell you, I was absolutely dripping sweat under this.
The problem is,
I see you sweating.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've got some deodorant if you need it.
I don't need deodorant. I just need to stop sweating.
Can we get him a body sponge? Maybe something.
A sham. Wow. The problem is if you're TD,
did you just say ShamWow?
Yeah.
ShamWow. Great commercial.
The problem is if you're TD and you're hot, though, you can't take off that jacket. You got to just ride it out with it.
I can't take the jacket
I think he's got like one for each appearance. He's got like 5 of these wherever he goes. He's got one. He'll send it out to the dry cleaner. Look, the other thing that's interesting here, and I get it was on as soon as Patrick Mahomes was traded. Alex Smith played the season of his life.
I know.
The season of his life. Over 4,000 yards, 68% complete, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and the Chiefs are still like, yeah, we like the kid.
But where did they go with that?
Yeah. Well, okay, that's fair.
And so
that's fair.
We love to judge quarterbacks, right?
I try not to.
But you have to.
I try not to because I don't believe – you know what? While it's great, you look at John Elway's stats in your first Super Bowl win, he was on the all hanging on there squad.
It don't matter.
You were the reason they won that Super Bowl.
He was the one that captained that ship. He captained the ship, right? He steered it in there, just like with Peyton Manning. His numbers weren't great.
They were awful.
But
when the Denver Broncos
you have to understand, it's not just the tangibles. There's the intangibles that those quarterbacks bring to the table, right? The fact that when I'm in the huddle with John, I know one thing: my level of play need to be through the roof because I know that he expects that from me, and the responsibility that I have to play at a higher level. He's making sure that I play up there.
And you get both sides of it here. And Tom Brady, who's been there, done that, and a guy, Nick Foles, who got thrust into the situation for a few weeks and has taken advantage of that opportunity. So let's talk about that for those of us who played and never made it to this game, and those of us who never played and obviously didn't get to this game. Where are the players right now? And is there a difference of when you went that second time like these Patriots have experienced to your first time like a lot of the Eagles players are now in mentality approaching this game?
So we had basically both scenarios, right? We were the new team, no experience, and we played the Packers who were like 14-point favorites, right?
Right.
So we knew what that felt like to be the underdogs and go into a big game. And we also were favored in the second game against the Falcons. I mean, the first game was like, we realized one thing. Don't try to do things that you don't do. And at the end of the day, it's just football, right? I mean, this game is big, and when you get here, you recognize it is a huge game. But when it's all said and done, we control what we do on that football field. We control how we perform, how we play, and we felt confident that we can win that game. Despite what everybody said, all the pundits, you guys up here, I know Trey was probably saying it, right?
No, I actually picked you guys, and people thought that was crazy.
Okay.
You know what? You know why I picked you guys?
Why?
Because I said because they can run the ball.
Oh,
so we were
true.
That's right. We were built
I
like
can
an
find
NFC
you
team.
the tape. Y'all just shut the hell up. I can find you the tape. I was in on
Find
this
the
one
tape.
before
Bring it
anybody.
back.
Go ahead and pull the tapes.
Yeah, so I think it's, you know what, if you feel like you're an underdog or you feel like you're not prepared or you feel like you don't have the experience, then maybe it shows. But to me, you have to just say, forget all that stuff, forget the noise. We came here to win this game.
And look, for all of us that follow football extensively, we know this story, but I'm not sure everybody here in this audience or our viewers or listeners know the story of how bad your migraine was in that game in which you were the Super Bowl MVP. You were blinded at one point by the migraine. You couldn't see, right? So you were like, I can't see, you're out of the game. And Mike Shanahan comes to you in a goal line situation and says what?
He says, it doesn't matter if you can see or not. We need you in this play. Otherwise, they don't think we're going to run the football.
So he came in there. I mean, literally, the headache was so bad. It was right before the half, and he just said, look, we're not going to give you the ball. We need you to go on the field so they'll honor the run, right?
That's exactly what happened.
And then what happened?
So with me, when I get migraine headaches, the first thing that happens is that my vision goes out.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, can you not see anything? I said, well, if I'm looking at you guys, I can see half your face, and it's like
That's probably better.
It's like it's like a puzzle, right? Where all the pieces aren't connected.
Yeah.
You know, you dump the puzzle out. That's what it looks like.
Right.
So you can't really make out things. So that happened, and we were changing fields at the time. It was after the first quarter, heading into the second quarter. We were on the goal line. I had to go tell Mike on the way back that, hey, I just want to make sure you know I cannot see.
Yeah.
So do not give me the football. So I just wanted to let him know that, and he says, it doesn't matter if you can see or not. We need you in this game. And
Love that.
And I didn't think twice about it. I just walked onto the field, and we ran the play. It was a bootleg. It was a play action, and John Elway rolled out to his right. No, that's not it.
Yeah, that's the game-winning
and then
touchdown.
he runs the ball in and scores a touchdown. But that was a big play for us.
Yeah.
You know?
So basically, I love that story. Look, I know you're hurting, but just go out there anyway, and just, we're not going to give it to you. But you were the ultimate decoy on that play.
In that game, it didn't matter.
Yeah,
it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I had to play, and there was people say, well, how did you do it? I said, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even an option not to go into that game and then to come back in the second half and play.
Well, and you were expected to carry the load in that game, and I'm interested from your perspective looking at these two teams because they really go running back by platoon and both squads. How that changes your approach as a back when you know you might not get all the carries you're used to get into a rhythm.
Well, they're used to that. So in New England, as you know, their teams every single game they have a game plan that says, well, we may use a bigger back, a Gillislee, or we might take Rex Burkhead, we might take Deion Lewis or James White. They have all these different running backs that they can present a matchup problem for any defense. And their backs, I saw this the other day. They have 4 running backs on their team that has 5+ touchdowns this season. No other team has that this season. So they're very good at taking running backs and making them receivers. And that's the thing you have to defend when you play them. You say, okay, well, can we defend the running game? Well, the run game is actually the little swing out, routes. It's the little dump down. It's the option routes. Sometimes they're wheel routes or, sort of go routes. But they're so good at using those running backs, man. And that's what makes them special.
Bill Belichick always likes to say we can win a lot of different ways, and he certainly does that with a bunch of running backs. Yeah, Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis is here. On behalf of Kay Jewelers, what are you doing with Kay Jewelers?
Yes, man, I'm honored to be paired with Kay Jewelers. It's the official jewelry store of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and of course they've been entrusted to create this ring of excellence. As you guys can see, it's a beautiful ring right there.
Nicely
you see that?
Done. Yeah.
I rock mine right here. You see that?
Yeah, of course you do.
So it's a nice ring there. But, I've always prided myself on not fumbling the rock in big moments. And so,
They're giving you a lot of rocks there.
Yeah. Especially Never Fumble when it comes to that special gift. So if you want to win over Valentine's Day, visit your local K Jewelers store or go to K.com. And you guys will be some winners this Valentine's Day.
It's all about brownie points, right?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Build them up.
I always do that.
There you go.
Hall of Famer running back Terrell Davis. Look, we'll never agree on this quarterback thing because I think when Pat Bowlen gave that stat, this one's for John, thanks to the excellence of Terrell Davis. Thanks to the excellence of Terrell Davis.
I was
just throwing that out
behind him saying, me too.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, man, good to have you here. Terrell Davis,
ladies
and gentlemen. Hall of Fame running back. Glad he's here with us. Knows a thing or two about winning a Super Bowl and being a Super Bowl MVP. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive and Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever. Oh, yeah, tell me off, baby. I'm going. Coming up, it's gone from bad to worse for your hometown Cleveland, Mike, and we'll get into that. All right, rolling on here, Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We are here at the Hard Rock Cafe in the Mall of America, and we have a very hearty bunch with us, so thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, we do. We appreciate it.
But we got here relatively early. Junior, you got here much earlier. And our set is here in the Mall of America at the Hard Rock Cafe. But Radio Row, which is where, every Super Bowl, all the radio stations hang out, is up in the food court. You've been up there already. This is the perfect combination, by the way, of consumers and what they consume. Because nobody eats more than sports radio hosts, okay? And they won't have to go far to get it. So as someone who enjoys consummation, how would you describe what you've seen up there?
It's a great setup. Personally, where I was for our ESPN radio booth, I was right behind in the shadow of the Shake Shack, but right across the way, I could see there was a Pepper Palace or something like that. There was the jerky experience behind me, which
the jerky experience.
I am very interested.
I'm all in just to see what that's about.
I've never seen a store dedicated solely to beef jerky before, so I'm interested what that entails. The thing that really, as someone who's hosting a radio show at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was sitting there just staring a hole through Starbucks, wondering when someone was going to show up. Like, I needed them in that moment. I was looking for a lifeline, and they weren't there. But if there was any sports radio host that was still hanging on to a shred of dignity from their New Year, New Me plan in 2018, that all goes out the window this week.
But
none of them are strong
man, they
enough.
can go ride the roller coaster. This is a new experience for you guys. Right. I've been in this mall before. I know you guys haven't.
I've been in this mall before.
You have been in this mall before.
I've ridden the roller coasters before. We're getting ready for the zip line. Me and Stanzik are all over the zip line.
That's
soon.
outside,
That's
though,
outside,
right?
though, yeah.
That's fine. It's part of the experience.
It's inside or is it outside?
Oh, there is a zip line inside.
You gave me some bad info.
Tell me
I thought I saw one outside as well. My bad. And you and I were going ice fishing later today.
Yeah, we got a little ice fishing going on.
I'm looking forward to that.
See, this is how this works. They're going ice fishing. I got to go do another show.
Let me ask you a question. You want to go ice fishing with us?
No,
okay, then. Okay, I knew you wouldn't go. And we're not.
Because I have a show. Otherwise, I would be right there.
And everybody's saying, do it like you should. Just go sit on a bucket on the ice. No, I'm going to go in some sort of shack thing with a heater and a beer. I mean, that's the way I'm going to ice fish.
He's so technical. He's calling it a shack thing, by the way.
Whatever.
He's all about.
What do we call it here?
A hut. Right? It's a hut. A house.
A hut, a house.
A house?
A shack
But
thing.
not a shack thing.
All
Shack
right.
things on inside the NBA.
All right,
Just
there
so
you go.
I just hope that they're serious
Thank
about
you.
letting us drink out there because it seems like part of the experience, and I want to get the most.
Well, that's it. We are all about the experience. So whatever we normally do for ice fishing, that's what we're going to do out there.
I'm pretty sure here they're pretty serious about that when it's 6 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out.
It's going to
there.
work.
And sadly, that was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. So we got a lot going for you. We're at the Mall of America. So you're going to go after this segment and sort of begin the rest of your day.
Right.
Yes.
Whatever entails that. See if you can get that Starbucks open for you.
We're going to see if that's opened up. We're going to get ready for some ice fishing, a little Twitter live show later. It's all deadly.
And we're going to get ready for more Hall of Famers on this set.
We got a cavalcade.
Yeah.
We got Hall of Famer Dan Marino on set with us in the next hour. So those of you that were here early, you will be rewarded. Not for the stuff you hear from us, but for the other people we got. Stay with us. We're coming right back.